is Chelsea.
And Elizabeth, and we're the Legal Ladies.
Yeah, and because June is Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month, we have decided to take a little trip over to this fantastic place to bring you some more information about long-term care if a family member or a family friend that you have for some info. So
where are we at and who we seen? Well, we're about to show ya.
here we go. Let's go in.
And today, like I said, we have a very special guest,
Liz.
and I'm going to let her say the name of her business because I'm still sure I'm going to say it wrong. So what is the name of your home?
We own a senescence care assisted living, and we call our home the St. Thomas House because we're on St. Thomas Drive. It's not terribly original.
So we called and reached out to Liz to let us come and just get some information, do a fun little interview with her, because like we said before, June is Alzheimer's and
Brain Awareness Month.
Yep, Brain Awareness Month. So we thought this is a great opportunity to look into the world of private care. So thank you, Liz, for joining
Absolutely.
us.
It's my pleasure.
What promoted you to decide to open up your own private facility? That's such a jump.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful jump, but it's not anything I would have ever thought about.
So I've been in healthcare my whole life. I started as a CNA when I was 19. I worked at Village Healthcare Center. I went to nursing school. I went to dental hygiene school. I've worked in public health for the last 13 years. But when I went back to school to get my master's in public health, I took a class that was about community groups. And so I chose to work with Missoula Aging Services at that point. And I've just stayed on there. And one of the activities we were doing was a community assessment for folks 55 and above. And it was very broad. It was about insurance needs, housing needs, health, transportation, just everything, because we were trying to get an idea of what were the main concerns in our community that people, as they were aging, were looking towards. Out of that assessment, we identified dementia and specifically Alzheimer's as a really big concern. And so probably about 4 to 5 years ago, we started this process of making Missoula a dementia-friendly community. Part of that process was also getting out into the community and doing what we call resource mapping. So just what the heck is out there? What do people have for day services and respite care? What are all of our housing options? Who comes to help deliver groceries or meals or transportation to appointments, or how does clergy come, and how do people maintain their spirituality? All of those different things. And it was impactful to me because I was actually out doing the mapping and basically finding that all of the memory care units in our town are completely full with months and months of wait list. And that was kind of sad and a little scary because so many families are in crisis by the time they get to that point where their loved one needs a home and probably needed a home months ago.
Yeah.
And it becomes a crisis. And then when they turn to find a home, they're all full. So that was kind of the impetus for looking at getting into a home. When I started, I visited all of the homes. I was exposed to adult foster care, which I didn't even know was a thing, which is a really beautiful model. It's even smaller. It's just like fostering children. You just foster aging adults. And then small homes, which is what I gravitated towards, medium-sized homes, all the way up to the largest homes. So I really had a good look at all the different models. I don't think there's a wrong model. I just think where we landed was this. I gravitate personally towards a more intimate model. So I like being here, knowing everybody's name, knowing their family's names, keeping things very personal. That was important to me. But yeah, that's where I started, was just working with the aging services and then recognizing that, gosh, we have such a shortage, and the fact that we're not even at the peak of our population that will need this. I mean, I think 2030 is supposed to be the time frame that we're really going to need all these services. So if we're already behind now, where are we going to be in 10 years?
scary.
Yeah.
If someone were to have a parent or something that they want to bring into your establishment, what is kind of the process and how do they go about, and do they tour, do they paperwork, things like that, of someone say I had to bring my mom in, how would that process go?
That's a very good question. So first of all, I would say the majority of people who come here come by word of mouth. Mm-hmm. So either they already know someone who's living here or a family member whose loved one is here. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people come with a small amount of knowledge about the house, but typically it starts with a phone call. Mm-hmm. And then my belief is that everybody should come and visit the homes, any home that you're going to go to, big or small, because every person's a little different. What their needs are a little different, what their likes, what their capabilities are. So our home is small. It's really a private residence that was built for a family, that we were just able to convert into a home that is intimate, but still spacious, so people have their privacy, but they're not alone. And so when people call, I usually discuss about their family members, kind of what their functioning level is, what their needs are. I have certain state regulations that are imposed on our level of care that we give here, so I'm always upfront about those and let people know what the parameters are, and then kind of leave it up to the family member as to whether or not they feel or believe that their loved one would fit into that environment. So the conversation is the start. Yeah. And then I think that should immediately be followed by a visit, because that's going to let them know whether or not this is the right tract. And then if it is, our application process is pretty small. I do an assessment, and that's required by the state. It's basically based on cognitive ability, or how well they function, just from a psychological, emotional standpoint. There are 8 physical aspects that the state looks at to make sure somebody would fit into a home such as this. And then there's some medical parameters that we have to go by as well, because we're not a nursing home, so we don't have nurses 24 hours to staff this home. Basically, we help with assisting with medications, dressing, what they call activities of daily living. Yep, so dressing, grooming, showering, eating. But we can also help with the hearing aids and the glasses, and if they have walkers or a wheelchair, even getting up and into a wheelchair to be able to be mobile. So that's kind of the starting point.
Yeah. So how was your reception? I mean, was it hard to get going, or were you overwhelmed?
Yeah, I think because I had a background in healthcare, there was a lot of things I knew coming into it, and part of that's just understanding where to look. So not that I knew all the regulations or how to start, but at least I knew where to look to do all of that. In Missoula, honestly, the hardest part of the whole thing was finding a house. Because I started with a lot of missions. I'm a very mission-driven person, but one of those was to keep housing affordable. Mm-hmm. There's so many people that come into retirement age, and in Missoula, with the way housing is, if you don't have a retirement and you don't own your home and all you're living off of is Social Security, it's going to be a rough go. So I really wanted to make a model that would be affordable. I don't really believe that I achieved it to the level that I wanted to, and that's simply because there's just so much regulation, so much insurance, taxes, wages, that never having been a business owner wouldn't have been able to anticipate it. So I ended up in a kind of a price bracket that I'm not unhappy, but I was hopeful that I could make it a little bit more obtainable for people and make price a little less of a barrier. But yeah, housing in Missoula is just so expensive.
I still think you did achieve your goals, because I do know some of the rates for some of the other larger private pay areas, and we're talking sometimes are 10.5, 11.5, and so
right.
that's just way out of a lot of people's reach.
Yes, yeah,
Which, if it isn't addressed better,
right,
it's just going to get continually worse because
yes, certainly.
nobody can afford 10. I mean, most average Americans can
Right.
afford 10 grand a
10,000 a
month.
month.
So I guess the thing is, I think it's great that, you know, and hopefully more people may see this and start taking different, you know, taking that
Yeah.
same approach, because, you know, it's just opening up to people to have great care that's at an affordable rate.
Right.
And still, like you said, have that, you know, have privacy and still feel home
Right.
and not feeling on top of each other.
Right.
Thank you guys for watching, and just remember June is Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month, and we want to thank Liz for being a part of our educational series about it and letting us into the St. Thomas House so we can kind of see what it is to be in one and let you guys know there are local places within them, not just the Missoula community that we're in now, but also at any of our satellite offices. So always reach out and make sure to contact us if you have any questions, or contact Liz if you have any
Yes.
questions either. So thanks, guys.
Have a great
Thank
one.
you.